Well, we're back to the Ofer-Tintican Western Train Show.
Right.
And we wanted to look at one last thing that we stumbled across here at the train show. And that's a gentleman here has modeled the Lehi of his youth.
Right. Lehi, Utah, famous for its roller mills.
And it's kind of interesting doing this to kind of go back to your childhood memories and say, I'm going to build my model railroad or my diorama of something from your own past.
Right. I call it a 3D memory.
Yeah, that's a good way to think of it. He's got something else going on here, and that's that he wanted to model this to help promote a concept, a thing that's going on, and that's the restoration of this, the Lehi train station. And his mother was born in this train station.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think what we should do is just let him tell the story.
Right.
So my grandpa, R.J. Stice, was a station master from 1904 to 1914. And the family lived upstairs. And so while the family lived upstairs, my mother and three of her brothers were born. But they were born in the train station. And I didn't know that. Until one day, my mother said, I want to show you where I was born. I thought she was born in American Fork because my grandpa was a station master there for 20 years. So we drove down to American Fork and she said, keep driving. So we drove down State Street here. There wasn't anything here at the time. And we drove and she said, turn up here. And we turned across the tracks. We went down this little dirt road and this field was this old building. And I said, that looks like a barn. Were you born in a barn? She says, no, I wasn't born in a barn. That's a train station. She says, they sold it and moved it there. And that's the last I heard of that. And I took a picture of it and gave it to my mom. 20 years later, my cousin calls me up and says, did you know they're restoring this station and they're putting it back where it was? And the person that owns the land down here, he donated all this land to them to put that building back on.
Nice.
And so I went over and I saw them, and they were moving the building on this, you see that big moving truck there?
Yes.
House movers. They were moving it back across the tracks and down to here and dropped it in on its new foundation. So it was dedicated in 2001, and it looked like this.
Yeah.
It was dedicated. Very beautiful restoration. And they had, in the museum portion of it, which is all the way downstairs, they had artifacts and all kinds of fun stuff about the railroad and so forth. And for 20 years, until 2020, they had exhibits and things going on in there, occasionally. Not a lot, but occasionally. And then the Hutchings Museum down the street, which was leasing it, in 2020, when COVID came along, they closed it. And they took all the artifacts out and they put them in storage. And we don't know why they did that, but they used it for office space for a while. And then they got done with that, and now it's just sitting there empty.
It's a shame that they're not doing something with this building.
I agree. They need to be doing something interesting with it.
Not only have they put a lot of work into it, it's historically important.
Exactly.
This is the second oldest train station west of the Mississippi. While it was built by the Utah Southern was absorbed into the Oregon Short Line. And then the Oregon Short Line and things got manipulated around again, and that became the Los Angeles and Salt Lake.
Wow.
And all of these railroads eventually were absorbed into the Union Pacific, and this became the Union Pacific's main line to Los Angeles.
Oh my.
That was before the line out through Tooele and everything was built. So all of the traffic to Los Angeles traveled right down these tracks.
That's amazing.
And they're not in use anymore.
No, but they're still interesting.
Oh, I think they're beautiful. The whole area here is quite stunning, and I personally think this is one of the most fascinating grades. There's also a bike path and walking path right alongside of it, and we walked it extensively.
Oh, yeah.
The long-term plan is that this is all supposed to be a continuation of the UTA's Blue Line.
Right.
It's actually supposed to go all the way to Provo. Right now it goes here to Draper, and from here it just switches back over to the original Union Pacific grade. But they have control of the grade, and the bridges are all built. Everything's all built to take the tracks all the way through Silicon Slopes here, all the way into Utah County, and all the way to the depot at Provo.
Wow.
Now, back in the 1980s, this line was still in use, and the Union Pacific ran a Challenger excursion all the way to Provo.
That is amazing.
And to think that the UP Challenger ran down these tracks.
Yeah, not really that long ago, but a while.
And look how barren.
That's what gets me. It's like there's no trees.
That mountain isn't even there anymore.
No.
It's been cut down. And this is all buildings and high technology and houses. And anyway, the Challenger came right through here. And so, well, of course, I had to follow it with a still camera in this particular case. And here it is going through Lehi. And without knowing it, I just sort of accidentally was able to get a picture of the Lehi Depot in its previous location.
Isn't that something?
So that's where it used to sit, right over there. And now, of course, it sits just over our left shoulder over here in its new location.
Oh, that's wild.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
The entire area around the depot, I think it's fascinating.
Well, this building has to be one of the original ones.
No, and if I were still in HO, I'd be modeling that.
Oh, yeah.
It just won't fit on our current railroad, but I can understand why he's decided to model all of this. Not only is it his history, it's fascinating.
Right, I totally get it.
And over here, the Lehi roller mills.
Oh, that's neat.
This is one of the most modeled structures in America.
Oh, it's pretty iconic.
It's easy to see why.
Yes.
Well, Steve had it on his railroad. We had it on our club railroad. I see it popping up on people's railroads all over the place. And it popped up in a major motion picture.
It sure did.
Footloose!
Right.
This is where the big dance scene took place. They couldn't get any other location for their big dance, so they held it in the roller mills.
That's fun.
All of the high school footage was shot in Payson High.
Right.
And they just had the 40th reunion for the film just a few days ago.
Right.
And Kevin Bacon came back for the big reunion at the high school.
Oh boy, what a reunion.
That's so cool. So the big reunion's been all over the press, and everybody's been having fun.
That's neat.
Now if some of that celebrity would just spill over onto the little train station here. Because boy, do they need to do something with this.
They sure do.
And it would also be nice if they would finish the Blue Line.
I would like to see that happen.
I'd love to ride this, and I can't imagine how many commuters would love to take this, especially between Silicon Slopes, Provo and Silicon Slopes, Salt Lake and Silicon Slopes. There would be so much commuter traffic on this line.
Oh, I would imagine.
What's the holdup? Finish the Blue Line.
Yeah, no kidding.
Also, why did they say no photography allowed?
I cannot understand that one.
The most beautiful abandoned railroad tracks and no photography.
So we went, my cousins and I went to Lehi in August of last year and asked them about it. And then finally in February we got to talk to the city council. And we gave a presentation and they said, thank you, that was a great presentation. We'll get back to you. Crickets, nothing.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, wait a minute. They only think there's 3 of us that want this done. We want more people to tell them we want this done. I thought, where could I go that there's people that like this kind of stuff? So I said, the train show. So I'm going to build a model of Lehi City, and I'm going to bring it to the train show, and I'm going to tell our story. And I'm going to ask people if they wouldn't mind writing one email to all the city council people and asking them to open the depot. That's what we're trying to do.
Good deal.
So there you have it.
Well, we're going to put up a video on the subject,
Are you?
and maybe that'll help. Couldn't
That'd be
hurt.
Great. Why not?
Couldn't hurt.
Yeah. So this is the flyer. I don't have any more right now. I handed out 80 of these flyers. This is the flyer, and this is the QR code that links to our Facebook page, where you can learn more about we call it the Lehi train station. It's not really that, but that's what people know it by.
Okay, and those are the emails then.
These are the emails there, yeah. And one email addressed to all the city council would be very beneficial. If we could get, I passed out 80 of these. If all 80 people send them emails, and then we'll get with the city council again in a couple of weeks and say, hey, how's it going?
How's it
Did you get
going?"
any emails? Did you know that people are really interested in this? And maybe we can get them to move a little quicker. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe some of you viewers out there will like to join in and send some emails to some of these city council people. Maybe, just maybe, they will decide to reopen this, and that'd be great.
I think it'd be a wonderful idea.
Anyway, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please click on the upcoming subscribe button and become a subscriber. And the button is coming up, zoink, right there. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Tuesday.
Right.
We'll see ya.
We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.